Rotated bit. Welcome back to another episode of My Legacy Garage. Today, the little tractor here needs a little love. So nothing crazy, just needs regular servicing. Doesn't even have 150 hours on it yet, but I like to change the oil every year regardless of the hours. So that's what we're going to do today. Sharpen the mower blades, get it all ready, greased up, good to go for the year. We use this tractor quite a bit for moving vehicles around and stuff. You guys have seen it on the channel a ton of times, lifted the bed off in the trunk with it. But we also use it to mow the grass. So it's springtime, time to start mowing, time to service the tractor. Let's get started. Step one of this adventure is to take the mower deck off, and I've already popped this pin down so that it can slide out of there. The only thing you have to do before you do that is set your adjustment right here to where it shows you driving over the mower deck. You set that to that, and then you pull all of these pins right here, right? Pull all these pins so they're straight out on all four mower deck wheels so that it'll sit flat on the floor, and then you just back off of it. So let's see how that goes. I've never taken the mower deck off of this. Should be interesting. Like I said, the pins are popped ready, so all we got to do is back it off of here. There you have it. We're just going to go ahead and clean this thing off a little bit, blow all the junk off. Next up is going to be changing the oil. Underneath the tractor right here is your drain plug. It's hard to see from the side because there's lines and stuff in the way. You got to kind of really get down here and look at it. And I guess you could probably do this without taking the mower deck off, but it seems like it would be really difficult and a missed opportunity to service the mower deck while you're at it anyway. So let's go ahead and get this thing draining. This takes a 17 millimeter. There's no good way to do this, I can tell you that right now. This power steering line is directly in the way. You're going to get your hand nasty. That's just the way it is. Oil filter is difficult. I can't really get a wrench on it. The one that I have is really kind of a little bit too big. And no matter how I try and squeeze in here, I can't even get a good bite on it with this, with a screwdriver or something jammed in it just to, get it to bite. It feels like it bit a little, but man, she is tight. Yeah, it just does not want to come off of there at all. Let's see if we can come up with a different way to get it off of there. Some digging around in the old toolbox over there, found an old oil filter wrench. There we go. That did the trick. Notice I've got the drain pan positioned so that it's catching the oil coming out of the oil filter as well. Doesn't look terrible. Alright, we're going to change the fuel filter next while that oil finishes the drain. So we shut the fuel off. And then we got to turn this off of here, which will probably be almost impossible. Let me get a pair of pliers, might make that a little bit easier. And I don't have a pair of channel locks big enough to go on it. But I do have a pipe wrench that kind of sort of fits on it. There we go. we're going to take this old filter out that looks pretty nasty. And we're going to get the new filter and put that in like so. Put this back on here. Make sure you got it seated on there right. And we're going to screw this back on here. We're going to try and use my channel locks that don't really fit on it to snug it up, because there's definitely no way the pipe wrench is going on there. There we go. And then last but not least, turn the fuel back on. Voila. This new oil filter installed, so I just get a little bit of oil on my finger. I'm going to put that around the gasket so that it seals nice. It's really difficult to try and pre-fill this, being that it goes on sideways. I put a little bit of oil in it, but it's not barely anything. I'm going to get that on there. Run her on. And remember, boys and girls, hand tight. That's all you need. There's no need to put a wrench on it. We're going to open the hood, which the easiest way I found to do is just take the key, stick it in here and push the little lever. Take the key back out. Happy days. Now, you notice I've had the bucket in the air this whole time. We've been very careful not to walk underneath of it or anything. What I'm not going to do is get under here and lean underneath this bucket here and work in this engine bay. Because that's a recipe for disaster. Something gives way, hydraulic line blows or something, this thing comes down, that's the end of you. So we're going to go ahead and lower this bucket down enough that we can work over top of it. Now, that's much safer. We're going to go ahead and check the air filter here. You got to hand it to John Deere. They make everything so easy and accessible. You might need to take the side panel off just to get the air cleaner out. There we go. Alright, so the trick is you got to rotate this drain right here up into this corner and then it'll come out. Let's see what we got in here. Apparently you've got to loosen this whole assembly. So we've got the air cleaner assembly loose there. It makes it a lot easier. We should have done that first. Primary air filter, secondary air filter. I don't have new ones for these. They don't look that terrible. We're just going to blow them out and put them back in. I've gone ahead and rotated the air cleaner assembly up out of the way. This hose end here goes right here, but it makes it a lot easier to get your hand in here to get to the oil fill cap, because we are getting close to ready to put oil in this thing. Do that, and we can stick the funnel right there. Now this holds just under 3 quarts of oil. I think it's like 2.7 or something like that. Don't forget, you got to put the drain plug back in it before you put oil in it. I know from personal experience that if you do put oil in it before you put the drain plug in it, it all runs out. Again, the drain plug does not have to be kill yourself tight. Just snug it down. That's all you need. We're putting 15W40 diesel oil in this thing. That's what it calls for. Of course, they want the John Deere brand, but you know, oil's oil. This is 1 gallon, which is 4 quarts, so we need to take it down to just a little over 1 quart left. That'll do. Just over 1 quart left in the bottle. Once you've got her filled up, go ahead and put your cap back on. Put your air cleaner back where it goes, like so. Then we're going to put the air cleaner itself back in. Get it all back together. Make sure you get your water drain pointing down, so that if it does get any water in it, that's where it goes. And then last but not least, put your strap back on. Now, before we close the hood, there's one more thing we got to do in here. I'm going to blow all the dust and dirt out of the radiator. That wasn't so bad. The other thing we're going to do to the actual tractor itself here is check the tire pressures. It's pretty low. Let's go ahead and get these filled back up. Recommended tire pressure is 22 pounds. I run 25 in mine. I find that tends to make it handle a little bit better in the yard and not tear stuff up. All right, that's the extent of the major servicing on this. We'll still grease everything when we do the mower deck, but we're going to move on to the mower deck now. Let's go ahead and start this thing up, make sure no red lights or anything come on, and we're good to go. Always turn the key on and just let it go for a little while, let that fuel pump purge everything out, and then fire it up. Seems safe. I'm not going to be crawling in underneath of it anyway, so let's go ahead and get the blades off and get them sharp. I'm going to use an impact to take these off because it's just easier, because if you put a regular ratchet on it and try and turn it, the blades just turn. You can get around that by taking a 2x4 and jamming it in like this and then putting the blade against it and it'll hold it, but I've got an impact, so I'm going to use that. If you've got any real tough deposits of grass in here, you know, this little bit here, I'm not too worried about that. But anything that's chunky, you're going to want to scrape that off of there, because that will cause your deck to just rust out. And who wants that, right? In order to sharpen the blade, as you can see, these are really, really dull. In order to sharpen them, all you need is a bench grinder and a steady hand. And basically what I usually do is do the bottom first. That's pretty good. And then the top. That's not bad. There you can see the sharpened edge. Pretty sharp. Rinse and repeat for all blades. Once they're sharp, just put them back on. And if you can't remember which way they went on, don't worry, they only go on one way. And to make it even better, it doesn't matter which one goes where. Mowers love grease. That's the ticket to a long life in a mower deck, because these things spin for long periods of time in tough conditions. What I do is put some grease on this PTO shaft right here. You can see it's just rust. It's bad. It's going to be hard getting back together again. So we'll put a little grease on her here, smear it around, and we'll be in much better shape. Mower deck is ready to go back on. Let's see how that goes. So supposedly this is an auto connect deck. You just drive over it and everything boop, 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 goes back together. I have my doubts. Let's see. So as you can see, this did not go on that pin like it's supposed to. The front made connection, it looks like, but this did not at all. We're gonna have to figure out what to do about this mess down here. It looks like, yeah, the PTO isn't lined up either. I think what we need to do is raise the back of this mower deck up a little bit. So let's try that and see what happens. As you can see, we've got these lined up to slide in here now. The PTO is lined up to slide in. And all we did is this. Put the back of the mower deck up on some 2x4s. Let's try this again and see how it goes. So it lifts the back now, but not the front, which makes me think it's not in there all the way, which it's not. Okay. As you can see, it just didn't slide all the way back in there. What we were looking for is for this piece right here to pop from down here up here to lock that pin in place. And in order to get it to do that, we had to lift the front of the mower deck up and tilt it so that that would latch in place. Kind of a little bit janky, definitely not auto connect, but easier than some mowers I've dealt with. All right, let's get everything reset where it needs to be and try it out. First order of business, pop all these back down. It sets your wheels where you have them marked with these pins, right? Because these are all adjustable. I think that looks pretty good to me. Last thing we're going to do before we drive it is change it from mower deck setting to what we actually want it on. And this is not easy to do. Oh, God. Let me try. The secret to being able to change this is to start the tractor, raise your mower deck up, and then turn this to where you want it. I usually run mine right on the high side of the QR code here. But, you know, that's me. I don't mind if my grass is a little longer. There you have it, freshly serviced John Deere 1025R, ready to mow. I like it. You also should grease these joints in the bucket too, but I just did that not that long ago, so probably should do it all at once. That way it's regular service intervals. That would be the smart thing to do. Anyway, I hope you found this informative. I hope it helped you out. And if you liked it, think about subscribing. Give us a like button too. We appreciate it. Helps the channel out. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.